So it's been 11 days since my last update for this road to the full planche, and I feel like the last couple of days I've made my biggest progress yet, especially the session I done yesterday. I got the closest I've ever got to the full planche to actually holding in the position. So I'm going to do this video a little bit backwards. I'm first going to go through the work from yesterday where I got the closest to that full planche position, and then I'm just going to recap what the other sessions I've done. So I've done 5 sessions in the last 11 days since the last update, so I'll then recap those afterwards. At the end, I'm also going to go through some body stats. So I'm going to look at my weight, my body fat percentage and that type of thing, because I'm very conscious that I'm heavier than I've ever been, and to get the full planche for any sort of quality hold time, I need to probably drop some weight. So I've done a bit of a check-in on that at the end. So let's have a look at yesterday's session. So this setup is probably the way where I feel the most comfortable at the moment. So it's on the floor, on a mat, with the hands externally rotated slightly. So all of the sets and reps that I done yesterday was all in this standard position. I started with the normal protraction holds, went into some easier tuck holds for longer duration, some advanced tuck positions, some frog positions, and then some straddle planche holds. So once I'd warmed up, I'd probably done around 6 or 7 sets of that type of work. So because frog and straddle planche were feeling very strong yesterday, I then started to open up and try and push the legs out towards the back, and then pushing out and trying to bring the legs together towards that full planche. Now hip is a little bit high and I don't hold for any amount of time, but I'm feeling that my shoulder is coming much further forwards. I'm starting to get the hip more on top of the hands, and it's starting to look a little bit more like the real thing. I am still losing a little bit of protraction, and when I do this one, so this is a good hold that I done, but I lowered down from handstand, I start to lose some of the protraction and also start to bend the elbows very slightly, so I need to be careful of this. Okay, so let's go back and recap what I've done this week. I've explored a couple of new different things. So yesterday's session, the one new thing I did play with was the back extension position where I'm holding onto the box, extending the legs out. So this is more working like the full body line position, making the body one segment. Now I actually found these pretty easy, so I'm not sure I need to spend much time here. I might explore and investigate some other variations of this, but this felt pretty comfortable to open and close the legs, to hold for time there, felt quite okay. So I'm thinking that because I have a full back lever that's quite comfortable, I can do 360 pulls. I've done lots of handstand work, dead presses, 90-degree handstand push-ups, that type of thing. I think that's carrying very well over to that body position. I don't think I need to work on it that much. Okay, so earlier in the week, I've done a P-bar session. So instead of the high P-bars, I went with these low wooden P-bars. I've got quite a bit of external rotation, and I used the wall to slowly increase the intensity of the planche position. So I've got my toes pushed into the wall first, and then I slowly bring the bars back closer and closer to the wall, so it forces me to go further and further into the planche. Okay, then I wanted to do the same thing, but I wanted to start to bring the feet up higher, so it's more like the same position that it will be when my feet start to flow in that full planche. So to start with, I use the IKEA box, same thing, and walking the hands back closer and closer to the wall, so it forces me into a deeper planche position. Really trying to focus on that upper back protracted position. You can still see that my lower back hips are starting to raise a little bit too high. I've got to try and bring those down and protract and push forwards more. Then I tried a little bit higher because I didn't feel quite high enough on those IKEA steps. So I just put my feet up on the mats here like this. It did feel very close to face planting. And then I went through my standard planche holds. So I went through my tuck, my open tuck, straddle, frog position, straddle with toes still on the floor, and then some lowering down from handstand. I did do a couple of sets of going into bent arm planche as well at the bottom. Next session was more of a bent arm session, so it was dead presses. So I done about 10 to 12 repetitions of these, and I was really trying to focus on the eccentric on the way down, so trying to get it as close as I could to the straight arm position and pause as long as I could. I got 1 or 2 reps that weren't too bad. But remember, this is a bent arm session, so I am coming down like a 90-degree handstand push-up and then just trying to push forwards as far as I can to try and straighten the arms. One evening at home, I done a few playing around with some easier, lower intensity planche positions. So just played around in like tuck, open tuck position. But like I say, that was low volume, less reps, less sets. Then I repeated the session I'd done before on the P-bars where I went from L-sit to planche. Now I found this very useful, but in this session I used boxes instead of the P-bars. I don't know whether it's because I've done more sessions now that this is feeling more comfortable, or whether I'm more comfortable not on the P-bars and on the boxes, but this session was definitely stronger and I could hold for longer than I could when I was doing it on the P-bars. So here's like a direct comparison in the straddle planche. You'll see the position is better, I'm slightly further forwards, and I can hold for longer on the boxes than I could do on the P-bars. And that P-bar one was about 2 weeks ago. So that's a quick review of the 5 sessions that I've done in the last 11 days. Now obviously yesterday's session was the highlight when I felt like I was getting very close to the full planche position. I'm conscious that I still have a long way to go, but I'm feeling like I'm going in the right direction. Now I'm just going to let this play from the other day. So I recorded a bit while I went into my height, weight and body composition at the moment. What I need to be realistic about is I've looked at a lot of people's tutorials, a lot of people that have full planches on the internet. Most people are in their 20s. Most people have very low body fat percentage. I'm in my 40s, so I'm 45. I'm definitely not low body fat percentage. I'm probably one of the heaviest I've been in a while. So I'm going to use this as a bit of a kick up the butt to try and get myself in a little bit more shape. I know it's a bit confronting, but I'm going to put myself on the spot now. So I'm going to weigh myself. I'm going to take my top off so I get a bit of a realistic starting point, if you like, for trying to get a little bit leaner while I'm training towards the full planche to see whether that helps. So this is where I'm at. So I'm about 170 centimeters. This is where I'm at. So I'm not in great shape at the moment. Like, I'm strong, but I'm holding a bit extra weight than I'd like to. Weight wise, okay, I'm dead on 80 kilos. I think this is the first time I've taken my top off on a YouTube video. So it's a bit confronting, but it's the kick up the butt I need. So that's the recap finished. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions on planche variations that I haven't tried yet, or any feedback that you have on your own training, or any questions that you have. Thumbs up and subscribe will be appreciated, and I'll speak to you next time. Thanks, guys.